And right now, we've been looking for this man all morning long. Texted him after midnight last night, uncharacteristically.
You must be listening to Morano all night.
Well, he did not get back to me until just about 5 minutes ago, and that is rare. We were worried about you, Curtis Sliwa, as he joins us now on the Bernie and Sid Show. Hey, Curtis, how the hell are you? Where were you?
Well, just no, I'm not a rude man. I'm not a Yankee man. I'm not a blood clot based on the song you just played there, Bernie.
Hey, Bumba Clot, man, don't mess with my music, man. Hey, roll the blunt and be quiet, please. Hey, listen, Curtis, you know you love that music. I love it as well. But look, I'm just glad you're okay because you slept. You must have slept over 5 hours, which is very rare for you. Anyway, I'm glad you got to sleep. But we've been talking all morning long, Curtis, about this Bodega stabbing and, Alvin Bragg and all this stuff. We want to get your take on the whole thing. I know you were intimately involved in the proceedings yesterday. So you give us your take on it, please, right now. Curtis Sliwa, go ahead.
Yeah, yes. We were in the courtroom. I had with me Nancy, who has been a criminal defense attorney before, because we knew that he had a legal aid attorney, and you never know. Legal aid attorneys might not work out very well for the accused. And I had the guardian angels there talking to the family because most of them only spoke Spanish, being from the Dominican Republic. But to know that this guy was charged with second-degree murder, that's the highest charge you can get, and then you watch the film over and over again, and it's not edited, anybody with common sense could see that Jose Alba was defending himself. He had no choice. You had a guy who came over the counter, and Bernie, you know this from having driven a livery cab, John from having run a supermarket, and me from running a McDonald's up in the Bronx, where I started the Guardian Angels in '79. There's a cardinal rule. Nobody comes over the counter. You come over the counter, you're a dead man walking. Whatever happens over the counter, hey, that's on you, because you decided to come over that counter, and then you have to take whatever measures you have to protect yourself, your staff, and others. And I think we should give the Congressional Medal of Honor to Jose Alba, because he showed New Yorkers what they can do to fight back.
Absolutely right. By the way, I worked in essentially a Greek bodega up in Yonkers in my late teenage years. Nicholas Voutsas up on Lawrence Street, and I worked behind the counter. And you're right, that was sacrosanct. That was a sacred place. Nobody comes behind the counter. And, he invaded that guy's space right there. And so the question is this, Curtis Sliwa. We talked about it with Lydia just before. What was Alvin Bragg thinking? He knew that video would come out. The only thing I can posit is that it was Friday night of a July 4th weekend. He thought it would be buried. Fortunately, it wasn't. But what was he thinking, knowing that video would exonerate the deli clerk in stabbing this thug, this mutt, to death? What was he thinking, Alvin Bragg? What was the mindset?
Well, I think this is common for him. If you happen to be a criminal, he cuts you loose. He goes the whole 9 yards to find the nuance in the law, to downgrade your charge from a felony to a misdemeanor to petty larceny or discon, so that they can get it off the books and get you back into the streets. But if you're standing up, if you're defending yourself, if you're, quote, being a Charles Bronson, or committing what he thinks in his mind is a vigilante act, they have to make an example of you. And as the New York Post had all over its front page yesterday, we got to get rid of Alvin Bragg. That's why we all have to work to get Congressman Zeldin elected governor of the state of New York November 8th, because he's promised, he said on day one, he will get rid of Alvin Bragg, which he has the power to do. We know Kathy Hochul has had her opportunity time and time again, and she won't. And remember, he's not all that different from a lot of the other DAs in New York City. That's why our city is in such bad shape. Criminals are getting locked up, and then they're getting turned loose. For example, yesterday, we were outside of 100 Center Street. The warrant squad brought in a bad hombre, a desperado. Within a half hour, he was cut loose. He was walking out of 100 Center Street before the warrant squad had finished their paperwork. And this is what goes on a regular basis in Alvin Bragg land, where if you happen to be a shoplifter or a booster, you walk into a store, you actually ask the cashier, could I have an Alvin Bragg swag bag? I promise I won't shoot. I'm just here to loot.
Wow.
And
So,
remember,
yeah, we know Alvin Bragg. Go ahead.
Right, but there was a time, Bernie, up in the Bronx, and John, you should know, when I was running that McDonald's at night on Fordham and Webster, you came over the counter, we would yoke you right in the kitchen area, we would drag you back, lock you up in the freezer, because it would take
That's not the
customer.
customer. You're right, Curtis. It's not the customer space. Going over the counter, behind the counter, starting to beat up the poor worker, it's like being in your home. And you walk into my home and you threaten my family and you threaten me. And I had a shotgun or I had a bat. I would blow you away with the shotgun or I'll hit you over the head with the bat to protect my family.
Right, and you know what? You would have been doing society a favor. Trust me, this guy who's no longer here had done prison time for assaulting a cop, and his old lady, the woman who started all this, stabbed Jose Alba in the arm, and she didn't even get arrested. She's out there footloose and fancy free.
And the Bodega guy was in jail.
Yes. Jose Alba did society a favor by eliminating this enemy of society who had just gotten out of prison for assaulting a police officer and had 8 major charges on his record. He was no good. As Donald Trump said, he was a bad hombre. That's why I want to give the Congressional Medal of Honor to Jose Alba for doing us all a big favor.
I
Absolutely.
agree. And listen, Mayor Adams did do the right thing, and he spoke out. Tell me, look, at least he's got courage. What other city person had courage to get up and speak out that this Bodega guy should not be in jail and it's wrong?
Yep, he went outside the Blue Moon grocery store, the Bodega right there on 139th and Broadway, spoke on his behalf. The only thing I would suggest, he's got to name and shame Alvin Bragg. He's got to say his name. Because if he just generically...
Our other co-host at 5 o'clock, Governor David Paterson, former governor of New York and former Democratic state chairman, and stepfather to your son, is talking to Alvin Bragg, and he's trying to show him the light. And let's see what happens. Look, we work in many ways, Curtis. You know that. Me and you grew up on the streets of New York. We work in different ways to try to make a difference.
Wow. So you mean Governor
Yes,
David Paterson? What is it you call him?
Your son's stepson, or your husband-in-law.
That's right. I'm the husband-in-law to Governor David Paterson. You mean the man who can't see is going to try to turn Alvin Bragg into a DA who can see?
Well said. Well said.
Good luck.
But Eric Adams, to be clear, Curtis Sliwa, John, Eric Adams should call Alvin Bragg out by name and say, what the hell were you thinking? What were you doing? Call him out by name.
Tune in at 5 o'clock, and let's see what Governor Paterson does.
Also, remember,
Indeed.
Mayor Adams called McMahon in Staten Island. He wanted Rudy arrested. He can call Alvin Bragg. Tell him to pick up the phone, John. Call Alvin Bragg and name and shame him.
Well,
but he did a good thing yesterday by calling him out.
Mayor Adams should know that Rudy was not well. He had stents put in on Tuesday. So when that happened, he wasn't breathing well. So whether it's a heavy pat on the back or a light pat on the back, Rudy was suffering. And, by even a light pat in the back could have caused him to die.
Yeah, no, he was in bad shape, John.
Wow.
Remember, I was with him the last few days. He should have at least called up.
He's well now. He's well, and he's back up to his form, and I'm glad to hear that because He's got work to be done in keeping people safe.
That's for sure. He's my kumbare cheech. We want him to live to the ends of time.
Well, if he talks to Dr. Michalos, we can make him live to at least 100.
He's one hell of a tough
Curtis
guy,
Sliwa. He really is. He's a great American patriot, and yes, that's why he was so hurt when he was hitting that supermarket, because he was ill, and that guy should have never put his hands on him. I don't care what the media says. It was a tap on the back. It hurt Rudy Giuliani. He wouldn't lie about that. But Curtis Sliwa, we're glad you're okay, and we want to thank you for giving us your insight. And yes, Kathy Hochul, we got to take her out in November. She said nothing yesterday. She could have fired Alvin Bragg yesterday. She should have. She didn't, and you pointed that out. So November is going to be the day we have to take her with Lee Zeldin to get her out of office. I mean, because she's killing us, along with the thugs in the street that she's protecting. So, Curtis, thank you, and thanks for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show with John Catsimatidis. Now you can go back to sleep. How about that?
No, I'm up. My shoulder's killing me, but I got to be in for 12:15 to 1 o'clock. I wouldn't miss that for the world.
We got stem cell. By the way, WABC is sponsoring. You ready? You're sitting down? The stem cell expert from the island, is it Antigua and one of those islands, is coming in, and we're sponsoring a medical conference with him. And I understand he is performing miracles on, I think we're sponsoring the conference August 26th. And if your shoulder still hurts you, I'm going to take care of you, Curtis. Margot took care of you last time. I'm taking care of you this time.
Thank you. I need it. And I do believe in stem cells. They do work.
It's miracle workers. Curtis. If you listen to Dr. Michalos, he went down to that island and he saw miracles happening.
Godspeed, Curtis Sliwa. We'll see you at 12:15 on 77 WABC on the Bernie and Sid Show. Next, we're going to speak to Dr. Ben Carson. That's right, Dr. Ben Carson on the Bernie and Sid Show. Coming up next after this short break.